Article 5. The United States will, upon the signature of the present treaty, send back to Spain at its own cost the Spanish soldiers taken as prisoners of war in the capture of Manila by the American forces. The arms of the soldier in question that shall be restored to them. Spain will, upon the exchange of the ratification of the present treaty, proceed to evacuate the Philippines as well as the island of Guam on terms similar to those agreed upon by the commissioner appointed for the evacuation of Puerto Rico and other islands in the West Indies. Under the Protocol of August 12, 1898, which is to continue in force till its provisions are completely executed, the time within which evacuation of the Philippine Island and Guam shall be completed shall be fixed by the two governments. Standard colors and captured war vessels, small arms, guns of calibers, with their carriages and accessories, powder, ammunition, livestock, and material on supplies of all kinds, belonging to the land of naval forces of Spain in the Philippines and Guam. Remainders of property of Spain, pieces of heavy ordnance, exclusive of field artillery and fortification, the coast defenses shall remain in their emplacement for their term of 6 months. So Spain agrees to evacuate the Philippines and Guam after the signing of treaty, while the United States will return all captured Spanish expense. Both governments will decide the time for evacuation and handling of military supplies and property left behind. Article 6. Spain will, upon the signature of the present treaty, release all prisoners of war and all persons detained or imprisoned for political offenses in connection with the insurrection in Cuba, in the Philippines, and the war. And the United States, reciprocally, in the United States will release all persons made of prisoners of war by the American forces and will undertake to obtain the release of all Spanish prisoners in the hand of the insurgents in Cuba and Philippines. The government of the United States will, at its own cost, return to Spain, and the government of Spain will, at its own cost, return to the United States. Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines, according to the situation of their respective homes, prisoners released or caused to be released by them respectively under Article. So basically, both Spain and United States will release all prisoners of war and political detainees related to the conflicts in Cuba and the Philippines. Each nation will bear the cost of returning the released prisoners to their respective countries. Article 7. The United States and Spain mutually relinquish all claims for indemnity, national and individual, of every kind of either government or if its citizen or subject against the other government that may have arisen since the beginning of the late insurrection in Cuba and prior to the exchange and ratification of the present treaty, including all claims for the United Nations, will adjudicate and settle the claims of its citizens against Spain relinquished in this article. So in Article 7, the United States and Spain mutually give up all financial claims and demands for wire compensation. The U.S. will take responsibility for the settling and any claims its citizens may have against Spain. Article 8. In conformity with the provisions of Article 1, 2, and 3 of this treaty, Spain relinquishes in Cuba and settles in Puerto Rico and other islands in the West Indies, in the island of Guam, in the Philippines of Archipelago, all the buildings, wharves, barracks, forts, structures, public highways, and other immovable property which is in conformity with the law belong to the public domain and such as belong to the Crown of Spain. And it is hereby declared that the relinquishment of cession as the case may be to be which proceeding paragraph refers cannot any respect impair to property or rights which by law belong to the peaceful possessions of property of all kinds of provinces, municipalities, public or private establishment, ecclesiastical or civic bodies or any other association having legal capacity to acquire and possess property in the aforesaid territories renounced or ceded or private individuals of whatsoever nationality, such as individuals may be. The aforesaid relinquishment or cession, as the case may be, needs all documents exclusively referring to the sovereignty relinquished or ceded that may exist in the archives of the peninsula, wherein any document such archives only parts relates. Said to sovereignty, a copy of such part will be furnished whenever it shall be. So here in Article 8, Spain officially gives up its sovereignty over Cuban cities, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines to the United States, including all public buildings, forts, and properties belonging to the Spanish government. However, private property and ownership rights of individual churches and organizations remain protected. All official documents related to the transferred territories will be shared between the two countries when needed. The archives and records in ceded territories must be preserved and remain accessible for legal and administrative purposes. Brothers Under the Skin, Hermanos, and El Fondo, Philippine Press, June 18, 1938. 106 a social conflict and socialist ideology spread in Central Luzon during the 1930s. The Free Press was forced to deal with social substance instead of recalling trivia in its provincial reportage. Brothers Under the Skin urges Filipinos, in the name of herself, whose birthday was following the day, to end social conflict and deal with each other fairly. As the Depression worsened, Central Luzon peasants mounted strikes and demonstration to win tenancy reforms, refusing concessions. Landlords in Pampanga, Tarlac, and Nueva Ecija provinces responded with goon squad repression.